Key point 1. Are you out of your mind? What is more vague and confusing than the word awareness? What does it mean? Is it seeing our environment or hearing people around us? Yes and no. Awareness has a much deeper sense. Its major aspect is that true vision comes from within. However, the problem arises when we try to stay present. For some reason, being here and now triggers and scares us, as if we must do something to justify our existence. So instead, we reminisce on our past mistakes and plan the future to show the universe that we're not passive. But at the end of the day, we hesitate to make a move because of all the mistakes we're keen to avoid when starting something new. The same feeling arises when we promise to end toxic relationships, but are too afraid of our parents' or friends' opinions. In other words, we're scared to damage our ego, that naughty insect penetrating our brains and saying we're nothing without that job, that partner, or that lifestyle. Shedding a bit of our real selves makes us go through an existential crisis. But what if we tell you all this is only in your head? The rest of the world hasn't even noticed it, while you allow your mind to trick you into thinking so. We shape our thoughts. They don't shape us. Eckhart Tolle distilled this problem to extract its essence, our mind. He believes we can be our best selves if we release the grip on our thoughts and opinions. Unless you're scared of having no idea who you are and what you can be, freely embark on this spiritual journey. Key point 2. Be Buddha instead of quoting him. We are addicted to thinking. We find comfort in the voices in our heads as they shield us from terrifying creatures, our authentic selves. Our thoughts often dress up our inner nudity to make it presentable for, first and foremost, ourselves. On rare occasions, the voices stop talking, but instead of being relieved, we're terrified of the smallness of our true selves, hidden behind our opinions of ourselves and others, otherwise known as ego. In other words, our mind is the ego. How can we recognize this unfathomable entity? In short, these are all the meanings we attach to ourselves: opinions, judgments, ideologies, favorite art genres, and even aesthetics. Put differently, we need things to identify with and to present ourselves in a favorable light. We often refer to these external factors as our personality. However, if we momentarily detach ourselves from our favorite band or show, the sense of emptiness and indifference may resurface. As social beings, we fear the inability to connect with others, which can lead to being labeled as an outcast. That is why we'd rather let our minds feed off our worries and insecurities than confront them and become whole without relying on external validation. Speaking of worries and insecurities, our emotions can also stab us in the back. What is emotion if not a spillover of our thoughts? Sometimes the feelings grow so intense we lose the sense of consciousness and let them defeat us. What follows is anger, irritation, confusion, or panic. Literally any emotion on the negative spectrum. No idea is entirely correct, and no opinion is exhaustive. Let's look at an example. When someone points out our mistake or challenges our view with a valid argument, our ego starts to panic. Built on the illusion of its decisive, but frankly baseless, credibility, it's scared of exposure. Our ego refuses to admit its mistakes. The emotional reaction we're experiencing is feeling offended. However, it's not a personal insult to ourselves, but rather an attack on our ego. Since it depends on outside markers like our tastes and ideas, our ego becomes vulnerable and exposed when they are questioned. Pain is the primary sensation we want to avoid. Acting like someone else shields our real selves. Understanding the link between external validation and the ego is critical, because emotions and thoughts feed off each other. A harmful opinion causes a magnified negative feeling, escalating the thought. We become trapped in our minds, unable to experience love and joy. Did you know? Excessive social media use can force some users to adopt popular appearances and activities for future validation instead of observing their present selves and values. Key point 3. If not now, then when? Being unsatisfied with our lives is a common experience that bonds total strangers. For Tolle, this dissatisfaction is nothing but a mental disease caused by the incorrect perception of time. By his definition, the past and future don't exist. The only available time is now. According to Tolle, dwelling on past mistakes or dreaming of a better future are symptoms of unwellness, while being fully present in the now is a token of a sound mind. The past fuels our current identity with memories and regrets, while the future hints at salvation and hope. However, while we twitch between those two realms, we miss the only real one, the present. Another symptom of chronic lack of presence is our attachment to problems. Internally, we crave issues because they make up our identity, just like other labels we attach to ourselves. Although it may seem far-fetched, our conventional perception of time gives rise to problems. Every problem originates in the past, but thinking about its subject creates an illusion of it being present. Moreover, when we focus on its solution or a future without it, we refuse to face reality and solve the issue. But the truth is, there's no problem now, here in the present moment. When an emergency occurs, our mind has no time to think and simply acts. Past and future are mere projections of our minds that scare us. Yet they're powerful enough to subvert us into deep unconsciousness. Time and mind are interchangeable. The mind can't dwell without time, and time doesn't exist without the mind. Usually, most people live in a state of ordinary unconsciousness that encompasses our thinking process, emotions, responses, and desires. In other words, it is the byproduct of connecting with the outside world. However, we can sink into a mental blackout when an external judgment or another ego-threatening situation happens. Alcohol, drugs, sex, and even work come to the rescue, but are rarely successful. When we detach from the present, we also trip over psychological time. Unlike regular or clock time, the former ticks due to mental unease. A good example is dwelling on past mistakes instead of detaching and learning from them. Obsessing over goals and plans is another example. By doing that, we justify our means now and stop enjoying the process of achieving. Psychological time is to blame for existing issues. Instead of being in the moment and saving mental space for problem solving, we delve into past mistakes and worry about making them worse. However, if we awaken through challenges and become better, we can start gaining full consciousness. Key point 4. Find the way to your true self. If the past and future don't exist, the only realm left is the present, yet we are surprisingly uncomfortable in it. It is true. Awareness can project physical and mental discomfort at first. So how do we recognize the feeling of being present? Close your eyes and ask yourself, what will my next thought be? Watch your mind go still and silent the second you register the presence of thoughts at all. This quiet is you being present. Practicing awareness will eventually help redirect your vision toward current happenings instead of illusions of the past and future. This way, you can better integrate with reality and register opportunities to propel in life. When we describe total presence, it is synonymous with the concept of no mind. The mind is our disguise. Thanks to it, we have opinions and problems to identify with. However, the mind can also flood us with worries and fears, tying us to the past or future. It leads to us suffering in the present. We can't move forward, bamboozled by our mentality. So when we enter the creative flow once in a while, totally unaware of other people and things, we enjoy ourselves but fail to repeat it consciously. Luckily, we can practice awareness to reach that flow again. Awareness can hide behind our interests to protect itself. However, we must consciously bring it to the forefront and allow it to guide them instead. In modern society, total consciousness can be challenging. The collective ego imposes its opinions and lifestyles on us. For instance, we agree with the team's views to blend in. People with big egos, like celebrities, often attract us with their power. We want to be the same, even though it may damage our self-awareness. Egos are drawn to bigger egos. Darkness cannot recognize light. Eckhart Tolle. To prevent such casualties, you can learn the following techniques. First, relax and close your eyes. Take note of your thoughts. What are they about? Don't participate. Just observe and allow your thoughts to flow. Second, accept your ego's fear of annihilation and watch your reaction. Once again, just observe the stream. And third, train your consciousness by inverting your attention to your body. Focus on your hands, feet, or chest, How do your abdomen and head feel? Do you feel the energy flowing inside? Key point 5. Love does not have alternatives. Romantic love occupies a central place in the human mind at all times. We attach numerous healing labels to it, believing it can help us become complete, understood, and happy. In other words, we seek another person to save us from unconsciousness. Usually, we mistakenly associate this desire with romantic partners. But what about friends or parents? Physical pleasure is believed to be a catalyst for personal enlightenment. But so is experiencing death or sickness of close people. Any extremity kicks us out of our unawareness for a second. But for a longer effect, one must work on themselves. We cannot love genuinely unless we're free of our mind or ego. People are familiar with the chaotic breakup cycle. Refusing the pleasure of drama can be challenging. We enter romantic relationships expecting personal healing, unaware that you can't fix two broken vases with each other's shards. One's turmoil can't become another's cure, but by treating our wounds, we can help our partners heal along the way. Love is not selective, just as the light of the sun is not selective. Eckhart Tolle. Unconditional love emanates from within, so working on our awareness is the primary way to reach that state. Remember, unawareness implies a strong ego and attachment to our mind, which means we become easy prey to negativity, jealousy, possessiveness, control, irritation, and eventual separation. We easily judge the person beside us, confused by our own flaws. Conversely, some people get addicted to their partners, using them as a surrogate for their inner wholeness. We tend to base our sense of self on things that can attract a potential spouse: appearance, social status, career, and others. And more often than not, we're insecure about one or more of them. If we stop feeding our ego, the urge to judge will exhaust itself and eventually be replaced by acceptance. According to Tolle, women have a harder time detaching from their collective and personal experiences because of their intensity. Throughout history, females suffered from male-induced violence, exploitation, rape, unwanted pregnancy, and child loss, not to mention the pain of menstruation. On the other hand, feminine energy, which is not limited exclusively to women, is more suitable for entering the deeper realms of reality. It assumes openness, non-judgment, and submission, the gentle yet potent force necessary for cultivating awareness. Aside from these abilities, the following practice can ensure healthier and more mindful relationships. Turn on the witness mode whenever your partner evokes a specific negative response in you. Label it and let it pass without contributing to it emotionally. Use the knowledge to improve your self-awareness. Key point 6. Between despair and enlightenment. Success cannot exist without failure. Most notions would not exist if they had no opposite to define them, and to achieve awareness, we must repeat this mantra daily. In addition, what's even more important is the necessity of failure. We must fail to succeed. Every life on earth goes through a cycle, which means withering is a natural stage of progress. Periods of failure are critical to reevaluate the direction, give space to transformation, and observe ourselves from a sensitive angle. Major spiritual awakenings happen due to the restoring force. We must experience abnormal pain or limitation to discover the other side of us. In fact, qualities like compassion, forgiveness, and surrender come from negative experiences. But what is negative? The whole point of developing awareness and detachment is harmonizing with the universe, this spaceless being and pure energy. The present is a fundamental element of being, as the universe has no past or future. That is to say, there are no expectations or regrets, only acceptance of the current moment. Negativity stems from our mind or ego as a reaction to external stimuli. The ego hates being attacked and exposing its flaws. As a result, we often perceive every challenge as negative instead of seeing it as an opportunity to grow. Some discomfort is unavoidable, but nothing is more satisfying than sore muscles after a good workout. Failure is the best way to success. Discomfort motivates us to strengthen, not victory. Hardships are part of our life cycles. Without them, we wouldn't appreciate success. So, to change our perception of obstacles, we must practice forgiveness and surrender. By forgiving, meaning accepting the past, We allow the present in with all the opportunities we used to overlook. Resistance is negativity. Surrendering doesn't imply giving up, but rather accepting the present moment. Even when the situation is unfavorable, the point is to acknowledge the circumstances without anger or frustration, and resolve it without taking it personally. Many fail to release their pessimistic feelings because their ego feeds off them. Adopting a more positive outlook threatens their depressed identity. In other words, they'll never be happy or satisfied because deep inside them, they don't want to. That is why compassion is critical. The acceptance of events around us spills over to the acceptance of other people. Instead of arguing or judging, we stop proving ourselves right and recognize the absurdity of conflict in any form. Eventually, without personal attachment to things, we are no longer susceptible to negativity and stop spreading it through disputes. We learn to live peacefully. Conclusion. The words you are reading are stuck in the present moment. On the other hand, we are trying to escape it at all costs. Our mind never lives in the now. Instead, it seeks solace in the past and future. As years pass, we build our armor of opinions and judgments to protect our ego, yet we fail to recognize ourselves without it. Our ego is separate from our true selves, but we're too afraid to release the attributes that make us someone. The truth is that time doesn't exist, and neither do all of our illusions about things that drowned in the past or won't happen past our dreams of the future. We escape the present because it contains all the problems we hesitate to deal with, and fight all these battles strictly in our minds. We could break free but secretly enjoy the victim status because it justifies passivity. The present moment does not. It is constantly active, urging us to be the same. Ironically, as we seek peace, we run away from the very source of it, awareness. Consciousness can be painful as it strips away our armor. On the other hand, it equips us with even better ones: acceptance, surrender, and forgiveness. This magic trio is a universal key to improving our relationship with ourselves and others, withstanding life's challenges, and progressing organically without excessive drama. It's just about learning to be with our authentic selves, for better and for worse, for richer and for poorer, in sickness and in health. Try this. Observe animals and the way they live without time perception. Use it as a form of meditation. Practice non-thinking by studying a mundane item, a pen, a flower, and so on, without mental commentary. Try listening to silence while it's noisy to detach from the outer world and reach inner quiet.